Hey there! Welcome to the Good Life Meditation. I'm out here in the desert. This is Ludlow. I'm on my way over to Siberia. Probably about a half hour out, maybe 25 minutes or so. So let's talk about my objectives and principles along the way, shall we? Wait, that's heavy. Okay. Lots of trucks over there stopping down. You know, there's a little bit of anxiety about this point. It's always right, because this is the last little bit of civilization for this trip. After this, it's just me and the desert. So, Good Life is a little system that I came up with to basically give myself a purpose in life, and to make good use of my time, to find my way with the years that remain before the emptiness, the end comes, which I suspect is pretty bleak. Yeah, I'm a non-believer. I don't believe that there's any supernatural bits to life or any hereafter. Let's just come over here real quick. Look at this. This is the old town of Ludlow. The old Ludlow Cafe, that interesting architecture there. Old gas station. The Ludlow Motel here. Interesting. There's people staying there. Motel office. Please go to the Chevron station to rent a room. Interesting. Thank you. Okay. So let's get on with it. Feeling kind of a melancholy feel. It's not because I'm depressed or anything. I'm just it's that feeling that you get when you're about to say goodbye. I wonder if this is what it's like, the feeling that comes just before death. Oh, and now I'm being melodramatic, huh? So here we go. And I don't mean to be that way, but I do. No, I'm supposed to. The good life. The good life is supposed to be an optimistic thing, right? Making good use of time, but it is also a philosophy based on, death and an acceptance that there appears to be nothing beyond life. Let's just poke in real quick here. It's the old mercantile place. It appears to be nothing beyond life. So, I guess considering these thoughts kind of has that feeling. The first objective is to be always ready to die, to be always ready for death, so that be playing my hand, the life that I have, the cards that I have, in such a way, wow, the sun's about to go over, in such a way that when death comes, I'm in a pretty good position. That would mean that basically I'm in good standing with my family, and that furthermore I've got my affairs in order, and that whatever purpose I might have in life is being actualized in some way, trying to live out a good purpose. I think for the most part that's the case. Finances could be in better position. This is the office for the railroad. But that's always been the case. I'm not very good with money. But I think I'm in a good position to retire. And my wife and daughter will be okay because of my life insurance if something happened to me. But I'm still working on the catastrophic stuff. Second principle. Oh, and with regard to family, I think I'm in very fine shape with that. My loved ones and connections, I think we're in good shape in terms of our relationships and standing. I could leave now. It'd be a shame to leave now, but I don't think that there would be necessarily too many words unsaid. Artistically, very happy with my book being done, The Good Life. I mean, Going Alone. Good Life is the next book that I'm working on, which is the sequel to it, and which summarizes everything I'm talking about in this video. I'm very happy, even if I gotta go right now and I don't get a chance to finish The Good Life, I'm very happy with Going Alone, because Going Alone includes the Good Life concepts and philosophy within it. Next is number 2. Objective number 2 is good and effective use of time. To not waste my time, not pass my time, not blow the time that I have available to me, but instead to make good use of it. To live well. To spend time well. Whoa, I'm going to lose my... Hope my stuff doesn't shake off. This is a pretty rattly road right here. It's washboards. And I do that by not doing wasteful things, and not doing indulgent things too much, and not doing things that don't make much of a difference, or that are just burning energy and wasting time. Like I try to do this, come out and do this, and write my book. And I'm on social media to make good use of the time. That's part of what that whole Bible thing is about. That's a good use of time, a very, very good use of time. I'm making videos on YouTube now about on Facebook and YouTube about my study of the Bible, because I want to know if it's true, and if not, I want to show that to anyone that's interested in finding out, so we can get on with what is true, discover and get on with what is true. Number 3 is the homunculus. Number 3 is the development and maintenance of good and sound life principles. That's these 8 and 20 that I'm talking about right now. And I do that by thinking about these every day. Run them through my mind. Every now and then I share them like I'm doing right now. It took a long time to develop these, more than a year. And then more than 50 years of living to get to the point that I could even remember and think them up. Next is the cultivation of good emotional reactions, to just be the kind of person that can react well to whatever circumstance, be it good or bad or unexpected. Not be ambushed by life, even when life ambushes me. Be more mature, more reasoned. Next is perform good actions. Just do good things through the course of the day. Do worthwhile things. I know what they are. Things that make the world a better place. Small things even. I don't even need to say what they are. You know what I'm talking about. Best of when they're anonymous, of course, because then you're doing it for the right reason. But I'd love to go explore those mountains over there. Look at the sand against the mountains. Isn't that beautiful? Next, the last objective is the recognition. Whoa, look at the shadow coming over the land. Wow, the sun just dipped down. Okay, I'll try to hold the camera steady. Recognition of true limits and true opportunity. There's some things that I can, there's some things that I can't do. And it's good to know what those are, so that I can apportion my energies accordingly. Of course, I don't want to sell myself short, but at the same time, I don't want to overextend my reach where I can't reach. I can't slam dunk. Probably couldn't to save my life. Probably couldn't without as much practice as I can. But I can enjoy a leisurely game of one-on-one with someone. So don't get upset because I can't slam and dunk, but do take advantage of the opportunity of a ball on a free court and a friend. Now let's get on to my 20 principles. The first is the principle of war. Awake every morning ready to go to war with everything that I hold dear. Take it all on. And everything that you hold dear too. Because I don't want to hold dear things that aren't true. The best way to find out if they're true or not is to attack them. And again, not just the things that others believe, and not just the things that my enemies purport to be true, especially not these things, but especially the things that I hold to be true. Well, I'm probably not, a little bit guilty of not doing that. A lot of guilty, I think. I could do definitely a much better job, and I will. That's what part of doing this is all about. It helps you to remember to do that. 2, reason. Reason, of course, is the faculty of understanding. And reason is my instrument in the war to know what's true. There are 2 sub-principles, honesty and objectivity. By being honest, I can culture myself to prefer what is true, and to condition myself to say what is true, and to propose what is true. Being objective causes me to look at things in a factual manner, and to not allow the imposition of my own personal interest or my own personal weaknesses or biases or fears or irrationality. Reason, the instrument of virtue. The king of virtues. Number 3, the homunculus. Of course, the homunculus is just a word that means a little man. In classical sense, it's pictured as a little human being living inside our head. Remember that movie? What was that called? With Will Smith? Independence Day? Was that it? Or no, Men in Black. There was that one alien that was a little alien that lived inside the man's head, and you open up clicked the little slot, and the head opened up, and there was an alien in there running the levers and the wheels. That's a homunculus. Now, of course, I don't think that there's really a homunculus inside my head. It's just a mental vehicle to keep in mind that all there is just a little guy inside my head, the little man that is me, the consciousness, and that there's nothing more to it. There appears to be no soul that's steering the ship and guiding me along. It's just me. And what's more, when I die, that homunculus is going to wink out and be gone forever. Good to remember. Humbling to remember. Next is the home of good and evil. This is principle number 4. Good and evil don't reside out there in the landscape. There is no good or evil there amongst the hills and the black rocks. There's just an opinion that we have about behaviors and decisions and attitudes that are enable things to get better or worse. And these are what we call good and evil, and depending on how we define better or worse. So good and evil are opinions and ideas that we have, nothing more. And they live with the homunculus, and they'll die with the homunculus. Next is look at that. Wow. Next is this is number 5. Purpose. Wow, I feel the cool air right now. Wow, it's really nice out here. Purpose. There is no purpose in the universe, apparently. There's no manifest purpose. I don't find any purpose out here. If there's gonna be an inherent purpose anywhere, you're gonna find it out here. It's laid bare underneath and stripped of all the human interests and our opinions. Nature should reveal some purpose, and the only purpose that it seems to show is that life has a kind of a mandate to survive, and it doesn't appear that mandate is anything more than the common sense of life would not survive if it didn't have that mandate to want to survive, if it didn't want to survive. And so it has the mandate by virtue of the fact that it survives. Is that a tautology? I'm not sure. So with that, if that's the only purpose, well, personally, I've done that. I've got my daughter, raised her, she's nearly an adult, ready to go. So what was more? So I've decided that I'm going to make up my own purpose. And I decided that my purpose beyond procreation is propagating my genes into the next generation. My other purpose is to be a virtuous person, to be a good person. And I've defined that very objectively. Virtue is whatever it causes the wholesale improvement of well-being for as many people as possible, for as many thinking creatures as possible, for as much life as possible. And there's our first view of Siberia Valley out there. Wow, I can even see the railroad. So 5, purpose. Biology and virtue. Whereas biology, I hijack that word a little bit to simply mean making more of ourselves and living a virtuous life. Number 6. And I like to pull over. Let me do that real quick. Number 6 is the atomic principle. Atomic principle says that the universe is made of bits and pieces that come together to make up the stuff that we are. And that these bits and pieces, flow and change and become other things. And here's some of those bits and pieces right here. All these rocks and bits and pieces. They make things like this bike, and me, and that train, this planet, all these things formed of all these bits and pieces, but they're changing, transforming. Some of it doesn't stay the same very long, particularly something like me and you. What I am is going to be gone pretty soon, although the stuff of which I'm made will remain. But the homunculus will be gone, never to come back. At least there's no good reason to think that. Number 7. Principle of nature. Everything in the universe has some particular nature. And it's good to recognize what that nature is, so that we can live in accordance with it, abide it. It's the principle of this desert to be wide and barren, to be hot in the summer and cold in the winter. It's the principle of that train to be long, ponderous, trudging along with its 3 locomotives in the front, that long string of cars in the back, more than a mile in length. It's the principle of evening, to be a reflective time, both as regards light and for thoughts or anything that can think. It's the nature of me to enjoy solitude, walking alone in wild places and thinking. Sharing. 8 is the principle of maturity. There are 2 sub-principles of wisdom and fortitude. Maturity is the state of having experience in life and being able to make good use of that experience for better decisions and better living. Wisdom is that experience that we gain by trial and error. And fortitude is the will that we have to push on in the direction that we see fit, even when we don't want to, even when things are tough. If we can combine those 2 together, it's a very powerful force. Wisdom and fortitude make up maturity. Number 9, the social principle. Human beings are social animals. We need one another to survive. And our best ends are social ends. That locomotive driver there, he's bringing all of his goods for the social well-being of as many as possible. The job I do. It used to be when I worked in the private sector, I was making rich people richer. Now the job I do in the public sector makes needy people whole, and I really like that. So it's good to be social, even for people that are me, like me, that are not necessarily social innately, but it's good to practice this. Try to hold the camera straight. Number 10, the Feast of Offal. In the course of living, we sometimes are ambushed by entropy, ambushed by change, ambushed by evolution, accidents that happen. Borrowing some words from Stephen Pinker's book, Enlightenment Now, where he says our great strivings are against the force of evolution and entropy. His entropy is clear, but his evolution concept is a little strange. He doesn't mean it in the biological sense necessarily. But anyway, I digress. So, in the course of that, when we get ambushed, like if the bike was to break down right now and I'd have to limp to the side of the road, I'd be kind of upset, worried, and panicked. And what do I do? It's getting dark, and what am I need a tow truck, and I'm 150 miles from everything. Oh my gosh! That would kind of throw me into a tizzy, and I'm likely to get upset, and my anxiety is going to show. And when help comes, I might not be so nice. I might get to the hotel. If I find a way to the bike to get to the hotel, maybe I'll be a little angry and upset and snap at the person behind the counter. This is called the Feast of Offal, and it's a waste and byproduct of our unprincipled, undisciplined living. When life catches us by surprise and we flip the middle finger at life, and to the making other people suffer as a consequence. It's nice to avoid that by recognizing when it's going to happen and being aware of it. And minding it, not letting it take over. Number 11 is agency and the great indifference. There's an agent back there in that locomotive. The locomotive isn't an agent, but the driver and his partner there are. There's Siberia right here. They're simply human beings. They're simply agents, or anything that's really sentient, or for that matter alive. Anything that's alive is an agent of sorts. Hey, the wind's blowing the wrong way. I can tell by looking at the trees, the creosote bushes. So it's good to know that. Agency and the great indifference. Great indifference is this. What's left when you strip out all the agents? What's left? It's this indifferent nature, this wilderness of the universe that seems to not give a damn about us. If you want to find comfort, you need to look for agents, other human beings, or even things like dogs and cats. Hey, there's the ruins of Siberia. Now we're going to slow down for just a second, and we're going to go up to Siberia right now off a little dirt road. A train should catch up to us in just a second. And that's going to be interesting because that's what's left when the agents are all gone. Ghost town. All that's left is the indifference. Ghost town of Siberia. No real agency here. A good place to come if you want to experience the great indifference. But not nearly as good as out there. That's the deep water wilderness out there. There's a train coming. And there's the ruins. Oh, sandy part. Oh, rocky part. That's what I get for not paying attention. Alright, come up here. Turn the bike. Just a second here. I like to turn the bike around here. I'd lie if I told you that I wasn't anxious, but far less anxiety now than ever before. Every time I come out here, it's less so. Less anxious. There we go. Huh. Wind's kind of blowing the wrong way. Let me move the bike out a little further. There we go. There. That should be good. Let's finish up. So we just talked about agency and the great indifference. Let's go look at the ruins. Oh, I forgot something. After that is, oh, it's locked. After agency and the great indifference comes, the best seat in the house. To not want to be anyone else, be anywhere else, or be doing anything else, but to be okay with just where I am, just what I'm doing, right here, right now, right when. What is that? You can tell my nerves are up, kind of stumbling a little bit in my thoughts and speaking. This place does this to me, and it's a good thing. Not want to be anyone else, be anywhere else, or be doing anything else, but to be all right where I am, what I am, and what I'm doing, while all at the same time striving to improve my situation for myself and my family. It's a delicate balance. It's a tightrope walk. That's what the best seat in the house is. After that comes the path of wildness. The path of wildness is getting unstuck in life. Are you sitting in front of a computer right now watching this? And you've got a dream, something that you want to do. Maybe live in some place different. Do something different. Be someone different in a way. Live a different life. Become a different person. We can become different people. We can live multiple lives in one life. But are you afraid of that? Does it scare you? And are you going to just sit there a little longer? Wait it out? How long are you going to wait that out? Wow. Hold on. Let's get a snap. How long are you going to wait that out? Some people wait that out all the way to the end. The path of wildness is veering and stepping in the direction of your first inclination, of your best inclination. You know, weighing the options, considering the possibilities. The book's still here. I left a copy of Going Alone when I was here 2 weeks ago. I was planning to bring another one. I was kind of hoping it would be gone. I left it in that bucket. I was kind of hoping it would be gone and in the hands of someone who could use it. Not because I have a lot of wisdom to share, but because there's people out there, like I was just saying, that are stuck and unwilling to budge because they're afraid, or maybe others are afraid for them. And they maybe see a video like this and think, I want to do something like that. I want to go on an adventure, or maybe go live in Japan or wherever the country is that you're interested in, or do something scary, something that makes the heart go pitter-patter, something that makes it hard to talk. So I wrote that book for that. And the thing is, the book's not for everybody. Let's go ahead and set up camp. So this is where I camp right over here. I'm going to set up the tent right now. The book's not for everybody. But someone picked it up. Someone picked it up. Huh. Let's set up tent while there's still some light. Someone picked it up. That means maybe it might touch somebody. I kind of hope so. Because I want to catch someone the way I was caught. I was 16 or something like that when Thoreau's Walden came into my hands, and I realized then that there was something to that. There was something to that life of independent thought and independent action. That walking the beat of the different drummer, of your own drummer. And that made all the difference, as Thoreau would say. And though I know I'm no Thoreau, I hope that the simple model of what I'm doing might benefit others. So I'm a little sad to see the book's not gone. I was hoping it would be gone. That's okay. It takes time. Or maybe it doesn't. So I plant these books everywhere I can go, everywhere I can, with kind of the hope that I might, in the end, catch some people who might be willing to go walk on the path of wildness. That's what it is. So if you're stuck, consider the options. Give yourself an amount of time to think about it, and when that time is up, then make a decision. A decision for or against. And if you make it for, recognize that there's a chance you might be wrong. You might suffer. But part of me would argue that there's virtue in making that mistake, and sometimes you get the better part of the bargain when you actually make that mistake. The path of wildness. After the path of wildness comes hold on. Put this down here. I'm putting down my sheet here. You know what? I wonder if I can just put the helmet over here and just talk real loud. I hope you can hear me for the duration. Let's see. Maybe. I'll kind of talk loud. So that's the path of wildness. Is I just described it. After that is the risk of avoiding risk. There's surface level risks and deep level risks in life. And if we try to, the surface level risks in life are the obvious ones, right? Not getting a good education, not finding someone to spend your life with and settle down, and not saving money. People are pretty good about attending to those particular risks, but sometimes not so good about what I think of as the deeper level risks. The risk of not living the life that you want to live, not becoming the man or woman that you want to be, and of living a life afraid. And you, hold on. Living a life afraid and unsure and scared. And just settling for the secure. There's you know, safety isn't free after all. That's the risk of avoiding risk. See, don't feel like I'm doing this quite right. Here we go. Oh, here we go. Whoops. I'm kind of screwing this up. I'm not doing a good job. It's because I'm thinking about the darkness coming. It's okay. I can do this in the dark. Bear with me just a second. Let me get these posts in. Another train coming. It's 2 in short order. Thanks for waiting. I appreciate your patience. Oh my, this is all screwed up. Can you hear that train coming? Yeah, that's better. That train's gonna be here in just a second. One more. You can hear the wind. Here it comes. Wow, I could hear that coming across the desert just now. Okay, I lost the stake. Tent stake. Hold on. Shame to go without your tent stakes on a windy night. Oh, here it is. Found it. Let's see if you're not fond of this kind of anxiety, which isn't really bad, then this stuff might not be for you. But if you're okay with this, then give it a try. There's something to be said for this kind of life. And guess what? You can have this life without having to give anything up necessarily, as long as you find the right partners or partner. It's got to be someone who can understand this stuff and be cool with you being this kind of person, or whatever kind of person you are, or better yet, maybe someone you can share it with. You know, my particular bent is going alone, so I do stuff with my family, but I like this stuff too. finish. I promise I'll finish this video as soon as I get through this. I just need to think. Focus while I've still got some light. What have you got to lose? Living the life that you want to live. Unless maybe that life is being a war correspondent, then you might have a lot to lose. But if you just want to live in a foreign country, or speak another language, or have friends in a different sort of people, or maybe you believe that you're something that's a little hard for you to come out as. Maybe you're gay, or an atheist, or maybe you're religious among atheists. That's a challenge too, right? I've got to confess, that would be an interesting conversation if I'm an atheist. If my daughter came to me and said she became a believer. Not that I would reject her. But it would take some getting used to. Okay, this is the tricky part because I don't want the tent to fly away. So I got to make sure I get it up and secured quickly. So bear with me. There, that one's on. Hold on. Yeah, I think that's good. I think that's good. Okay. I don't think this is going anywhere tonight. Just one more second, please. Okay, let's see if I can start talking again. Back on track. That was the risk of avoiding risk. After the risk of avoiding risk is sin and damnation. I reckon 5 sins in my worldview. So the sins of falsity, credulity, faith, superstition, and dogma. And these are sins because they admit to things that may not be true and allow them into our lives. And when we have our damnation is that we have to live a life that's not true. Even a little bit is damnable to me, in my mind. After sin and damnation comes complete oblivion. After we're dead, there's no final reunion, no final reconciliation, and no final justice. We simply die. If we have left others in our lives that we haven't settled, that we have left on sour terms, so be it. That's going to be the end. There's no final reconciliation with them. There's no final reunion with them. We won't see them again. And there's no final justice. Things that are unjust actions that were taken will be, they'll get away with it. So look after the, try to make things good with the people in our lives while we have a chance, while we're around. And
reconcile, reunite, and seek after justice. Next is, just a second while I get something out here. That was Complete Oblivion. Next is Great Life Adventure. Why do I feel like I'm missing something? My mind is kind of, you know, just kind of gone away. I think I've already arrived in Siberia. My mind is here now. After Complete Oblivion is the Great Life Adventure, doing stuff like this. To joggle the head, you know, to rattle the brain, rattle the life, just like I am right now. I'm not myself right now. Coming out here rattles my senses, and it kind of wakens the muse, that little voice inside of me. Did I forget something? I may have forgotten something important. That must be here. That's why I do these things. Otherwise I get complacent. So I give myself this type of an adventure probably every 2 weeks. Have since I was for decades now. And it's made a lot of difference. As well as some periodic big adventures as well. Huh. Yeah, I might have forgotten something. Oh well, I'll be roughing it hard tonight. I might have forgot my little pad. So the big adventures make the difference. Those are the earth-shattering ones. This stuff like this is the smaller stuff. Settle up. After Great Life Adventure, the season of philosophy. Time to record what we've learned along the way. Kind of like what I'm doing right now. And then finally after that is arena and utility, an opportunity to live our lives. See every day, every moment, every hour, everything that happens is an opportunity for the pursuit of our objectives, the execution of our principles, and the pursuit of virtue along the way. And if it seems like this is labored, it's because it is. Because doing this kind of stuff kind of pushes me. And more so right now, because you know, I'm on the tail end of going alone and on the starting end of the good life, that effort, and it's going to be a lot of work, but I'm ready to do that. So I'm going to settle in now, turn off the camera, try to straighten up my camp, settle in for the night. Thanks for joining me. Have a great day. Make it a good life. Take care.